Good evening once again. This call to resign, the loudest one yet, comes one day after the I-Team revealed secret audio recordings of Bishop Malone calling an active priest, quote, dangerous.
And tonight, the whistleblower is explaining why he shared those audio clips with our chief investigator, Charlie Specht. Father Ryszard, the second secretary to the bishop, tells Charlie he was a victim of abuse himself. And he says that the diocese tried to keep him quiet.
Father Ryszard was just 23 years old when he arrived in the Diocese of Buffalo in 2003.
During that break, Father Art Smith assaulted me sexually. And I wish somebody told me it was a crime.
Ryszard was a seminarian and a recent immigrant of Poland, and says he didn't know how to process what had just happened.
At that time, I was just, I knew enough English to order latte at Starbucks, not to report a sexual assault, They don't teach you these words in English second language classes.
This document Bishop Malone sent to the Vatican confirms Father Ryszard's account, though Smith denies the allegations. Father Ryszard says he reported the sexual assault to Auxiliary Bishop Edward Grosz, who he says blamed him for not locking his own door at the rectory.
And then he says it was my fault because I didn't lock the door. Should have locked the door. And was Father Art Smith drunk? Because if he was, maybe he did not know what he was doing.
Then came this chilling statement, according to Ryszard, by Bishop Malone's right-hand man.
And then he said, and Ryszard, if you don't stop talking about this, you will not become a priest. You understand me? That was so hurtful, so difficult. That meeting, I thought destroyed my life for years. It sent me into depression, into anxiety attacks.
So you are reporting a crime here,
Yes.
And you're being made to feel by the leaders of the diocese like you're the one that did something wrong.
Yes, but the other thing you have to realize, this was only my second year in a foreign country. I did not know the laws here, and I was turning to a church for help. And then they re-victimized me again.
That's just pure blackmail. And that happened repeatedly by Bishop Grosz.
Father Ryszard's attorney, Barry Covert, says the threat was clear.
And the implication being you won't be ordained, you will be then sent back to your home country because you won't be on a student visa, you'll be taken right out of the country.
Documents show Father Ryszard, because of his position as Vice Chancellor, was even required to notarize documents for Bishop Malone that allowed Smith, Father Ryszard's own alleged abuser, to be placed back into ministry by Malone, despite other allegations of misconduct. How did it make you feel then to have to, as Bishop Malone's secretary, sign off on these letters putting Art Smith back in ministry?
How many times I had said in the senior staff, abuse is abuse. Age doesn't matter.
Father Ryszard says when he saw how the diocese was handling sexual harassment complaints by a seminarian about Father Jeffrey Nowak, he decided to come forward because he didn't want to see another seminarian silenced. He became a U.S. citizen this July, a fact not lost on Bishop Malone in the secret audio recordings, where the bishop pressures Father Ryszard to stay quiet about Nowak.
Don't forget what I'm saying. We can't, please don't get into that. Yeah. I can't, you're an American citizen, you're free to do what you want.
I bolted out of my chair. And because I realized that was verbal confirmation that my client was being indeed directly, or at a minimum indirectly, being blackmailed by the diocese to not disclose his abuse.
The final indignity came this year, when Father Ryszard says a prominent Catholic wrote a letter to the Bishop's Council of the Laity, urging the group to push the bishop for answers in Ryszard's case, because, quote, we cannot possibly heal without truth. And what was Bishop Malone's and Bishop Grosz's, what was their response to her letter?
Bishop Malone wanted me to call her to say that I'm okay, that everything is fine.
Now, Father Smith denied these allegations on the phone with us this afternoon, and Bishops Malone and Grosz, both through a spokeswoman, declined to comment for this story.
This story really seems to have no ending. Every day, every week, something else.
Exactly. There's no end in sight right now, and many people are pointing to the ongoing scandal here with the bishop and whether his future would bring some sort of healing.
All right, thanks for the update, Charlie.
Meantime, just a short time ago outside the Catholic Center in Buffalo, members of the Catholic community marched in protest of Bishop Malone. These protesters are joining a Western New York lawmaker who also says it's time for change.